second brother, and me too, and me. With that, Yao Ling and Little E exchanged a glance, and a dazzling core of fire surged forth once again. 10 sacred flames. Along with the newly birthed sacred flame on Little E and the pure spirit immortal flame on Yao Ling, the rarest of sacred flames in the great thousand worlds appeared all at once in 10 different forms. Hoo-hoo! The 10 different energies of fire origin were controlled within their palms. Xiao Yan's body, skin, and even his bloodlines all reacted simultaneously, his burning mantra humming violently, as if something were about to break apart within him. An indescribable ancient aura slowly rose from Xiao Yan's body. Everyone's expressions involuntarily turned towards the distant Baxia Dragon King. The Baxia Dragon King had been struck down by the Heavenly Emperor and was now in a pitiful state. After being suppressed for 1,000 years, and having lost his Baxia shell, his strength naturally couldn't compare to that of the Heavenly Emperor. You old fool, you really have a day to see the light of day again? If I had known back when I imprisoned you, I should have completely absorbed your powers. The Heavenly Emperor looked at the massive figure of the Baxia Dragon King, whose size resembled that of a mountain, and smiled foolishly. The dragon's 9 sons didn't all retain the dragon form. Aside from the highest-ranking Golden and Silver Dragon Kings, the other 7 sons had different shapes. Your strength? It has actually skyrocketed to the 6th reincarnation stage. I must admit, it surprises me. Seems like over the years, you've been doing a lot of things that were hidden from view. The Baxia Dragon King twisted his enormous turtle shell, sensing Xiao Yan's intentions. His colossal head lifted, and circles of cyan energy erupted with deadly waves. He was unafraid of the Heavenly Emperor, and even a burst of murderous rage poured out. The Baxia Dragon King's aura was shockingly at the peak of the 5th reincarnation stage. Moreover, after being suppressed by the Heavenly Emperor for centuries, his hatred had long been pent up. Now, upon breaking free, it was full of resentment. Your strength is strong too. You were only at the 4th reincarnation stage back then, but after losing your Baxia shell and being ambushed and suppressed by me, you've actually skyrocketed to this level over the past 1,000 years. Dragons really are an enviable race. The Heavenly Emperor's face turned a dark yellow, and silver lightning gathered in his palm. At the same time, a massive force, almost imperceptible, began to form around him. This power resembled the ancient nether orchid flower. It was the fluctuation of a divine artifact. Today, you will fall. The extraterritorial invasion of the immortal realm, you led many strong beings in the immortal realm to their deaths for your selfish desires. You deserve to die 1,000 deaths. The Baxia Dragon King roared, his voice shaking everyone's soul slightly. This is the source of evil. The Dark Demon is not so easily slain. But I still must thank you, and the Dark Demon. A mere 7th reincarnation stage cannot stop me. The Heavenly Emperor spread his hand, and a brilliant, heart-like light appeared. The evil energy emanating from it was enough to shake the heavens and earth. It was almost the very essence of the Dark Demon. No wonder Xiao Yan and the others' attack earlier had annihilated the Dark Demon's form and soul. There had been hidden assistance from this entity. Die! Baxia's heavenly throne. Seeing the energy heart, the Baxia Dragon King stopped talking and charged at the Heavenly Emperor. It knew the situation was dire, and the Heavenly Emperor had already gone mad. If they were defeated, the entire immortal realm would likely face disaster. Overestimating yourself? Let me show you what absolute suppression looks like. Crack! With a sharp sound, the colossal mountain form of the Baxia Dragon King was split open by a piercing force, and his entire body tumbled backward. The Heavenly Emperor stepped through the skies, and suddenly a blinding beam of light erupted from his palm. With a casual sweep, the Baxia Dragon King's ultimate strike crumbled in an instant. Below, Xiao Yan and the others gasped as they watched the unpredictable battle unfold. The terrifying power of the Baxia Dragon King had been defeated with a single blow? That's a divine artifact. It's the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword, ranked second among the 10 great divine artifacts of the immortal realm. Far off, Yao Ling's beautiful eyes were filled with fear and terror, and she couldn't help but shout out, recognizing the sword in the Heavenly Emperor's hand. The sword's long, gentle body surrounded by golden energy liquid seemed like an ordinary sword. But this very feeling made everyone present feel a wave of fear and unease. The Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, born alongside the ancient nether orchid flower. So what the teacher said was true? At this moment, Yun and Yuru exchanged serious glances, their expressions grave. Before the demise of the Moon God Palace's matriarch and Xun'er, their teacher had secretly told them to pay attention to these two divine artifacts, one for defense, one for offense, and frankly, the power of these two artifacts was truly horrifying. The Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, Princess Qinqin's delicate face was filled with a mixture of shock and awe. To wield an artifact capable of fighting beyond the 5th or even 6th reincarnation stage, what kind of terrifying existence must that be? Surpassing immortal arts, it must be the legendary divine class combat technique, divine art. Even ordinary mortals are incapable of executing a top-tier immortal art on their own. But a divine art, its power and destructive potential would be enough to obliterate the entire immortal realm. Xiao, give me the water spirit pearl. This is our last hope. It rests on you now. Princess Qinqin suddenly smiled charmingly. At this point, there was no choice but to take a gamble. All right. Xiao nodded solemnly, handing the stone box to Princess Qinqin as the 10-colored sacred flame began to gather, directed toward the burning technique. The small flame cauldron emitted a faint hum, and within it, a hidden divine weapon, concealed by Xiao for so long, slowly revealed its formidable edge. This is the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword. I'll use this sword to slay you all. Shouldn't that honor your identities? The Heavenly Emperor stood holding the sword, like a master of life and death, exuding an aura of invincibility. The Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword glowed with golden radiance, embodying the heavenly dragon on its surface and the earthly phoenix on its back. The brilliance was overwhelming. These two mythical beasts had been captured by the Heavenly Emperor from the mysterious 9 heavens, mysterious void paradise within the immortal realm. They were sealed within the sword to enhance its power. The Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, watching the Heavenly Emperor, standing in an indomitable stance like a war god, everyone's breath slowed. They raised their eyes, their gazes filled with shock, as they observed the Heavenly Emperor. With the Heavenly Emperor's strength at the 6th reincarnation stage, and his Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword in hand, even the dark demon they had faced moments ago would have no chance but to fall into defeat. Wong. Suddenly, Xiao closed his eyes, and a series of powerful fluctuations began to converge, like a volcano about to erupt. Heavenly Emperor, do you see this? In an instant, Princess Qinqin's body floated high into the sky, gazing down at the proud Heavenly Emperor as a blue stone box appeared in her hands. This is the water spirit pearl? Hearing these words, the killing intent in the Heavenly Emperor's eyes dissipated, replaced by a fiery, intense passion. This is the water spirit pearl. With a single glance, the Heavenly Emperor saw through the contents of the stone box in Princess Qinqin's hands. One of the 5 spirit pearls, the water spirit pearl. Others might not know, but the Heavenly Emperor understood all too well. The reason why the world had never produced a true Do Shun, combat god, was a mystery to them. However, the Lost Paradise, a land said to be a god's haven, undoubtedly held the key to reaching the Do Shun stage. The Lost Paradise was shrouded in mystery. Even super strong beings were unable to enter. Naturally, the 5 spirit pearls were the key to unlocking the core of the Lost Paradise. Unfortunately, the 5 spirit pearls were scattered across the land. Despite the efforts of countless powerful beings, they had never managed to gather them together. Give it to me. The Heavenly Emperor roared, raising the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, pointing it directly at Princess Qinqin. The immense pressure released by the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword spread out from the void above the divine Thunder Pool Palace. Even Princess Qinqin felt the chilling sensation of impending doom. Under the weight of this pressure, everything seemed weak and helpless. as though mere livestock awaiting slaughter. Let us go, or I'll destroy this thing completely. If even one of the 5 spirit pearls is lost, you will never touch that level in this lifetime. Trust me, as a descendant of the fire spirit clan, I have the power to do this. Princess Qinqin's face grew pale. She knew that, at this moment, the only thing capable of threatening the Heavenly Emperor was the water spirit pearl. With a brilliantly forced calm, she spoke. The Heavenly Emperor's expression fluctuated between dark and light, clearly weighing his options. The Xiao clan's descendants, the sacred flame and the burning technique, along with the Baxia Dragon King. If he backed down now, it would be impossible to retain his position. The immortal realm was already in ruins. His only escape was to destroy this place and flee to the human realm. But Princess Qinqin carried a divine aura from the Yaoji goddess, and the Heavenly Emperor feared she might destroy the water spirit pearl entirely. Today, you must die. After a brief moment of hesitation, the Heavenly Emperor gripped his divine sword, and his killing intent grew far more intense. The 5 spirit pearls were divine items, and it was unlikely anyone could destroy them. He stepped forward, and a mountain-like pressure bore down on everyone. Flame, come forth. Power of the sacred patterns. With his final ounce of will, Xiao Yin activated the burning technique, slowly gathering and forming 10 sacred patterns. The only hope left was to use these 10 sacred patterns to empower the god-slaying ruler, for that was the only way to stand a chance against the Heavenly Emperor. The fusion of the 10 sacred flames, though, could not create effective damage due to the majority being lower-ranked flames. As Xiao Yan's voice resonated, the entire void trembled, and deep cracks appeared everywhere, drawing the boundless energy of heaven and earth toward him. On the surface of the heavy ruler, it was as smooth as a double-edged measuring blade, but both sides of the ruler were filled with faint, intricate lines. These lines, although dim and lacking luster, carried an ancient aura that seemed to transcend all beings. At a mere glance, one could not help but feel a sense of awe and reverence, even to the point of feeling dazed and dizzy. The heavens and earth trembled, and flames mixed with some ancient destructive force surged around Xiao Yin, like a torrential downpour, spreading from him. Even the entire divine Thunderpool Palace could not escape its fate. Gulp. The second divine artifact of the human realm, God-slaying ruler. In the Heavenly Emperor's silver eyes, a look of astonishment suddenly surged. Among the great 1,000 worlds, the divine artifacts of the 7 realms, the human realm's divine artifact was by far the most powerful. The power of the god-slaying ruler was definitely not something the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword could compare to. Runes. Taking advantage of the Heavenly Emperor's momentary hesitation, Xiao Yan's eyes, which shimmered with 10 colors of flame, locked onto the resplendent god-slaying ruler in front of him. The energy within it was enough to shatter the soul of any 5th reincarnation stage powerhouse into dust. Truly worthy of being a descendant of the Xiao clan. Such courage. This emperor is willing to acknowledge you. Come. The Heavenly Emperor's mouth suddenly split into a crazed grin. Immediately, silver lightning coursed through his body as he slowly raised the Taiji Heavenly Emperor's sword, releasing a terrifying aura of disdain for all things, which slowly began to overflow. This madman. He's actually trying to compete with Xiao Yin? The Baxia Dragon King leaned closer, staring in shock at the Heavenly Emperor's posture. The Heavenly Emperor was indeed proud, but he had the strength to back up that pride. Senior, this is Baxia's shell. Although it is shattered now, let me face life and death with you. As his words fell, everyone gathered around Xiao Yin, shielding him from the overwhelming pressure of the heavens and earth. This was the final battle, and the outcome was still uncertain. 10 sacred runes, the power of god-slaying. Slay the gods. Xiao Yan's indifferent eyes locked onto the Heavenly Emperor in the sky, and his cold voice echoed. His hands, infused with the power of green dragon scales and partial dragon transformation, shook violently. Even so, his hands gripping the god-slaying ruler still trembled uncontrollably. The power within his dragon scales and partial transformation became faint and intangible. At the same time, As Xiao Yin spoke, a giant ruler, glowing with brilliant golden light, slowly rose. The profound, ancient waves emanated as though it were a judge controlling the rules of the world, rippling through the void. With one swing of the ruler, the heavens and earth rumbled. The energy in the void scattered, and strange fluctuations erupted, like a golden lightning bolt wreaking havoc. The dazzling flames swiftly poured out from the golden lightning, transforming into a giant figure that reached for the sky, propelling the golden lightning to explode forward. The heavens fell silent, as if all the energy had suddenly quieted down. Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword. Taiji Heavenly Emperor Slash. Under Xiao Yan's terrifying attack, the Heavenly Emperor's face shook violently, and for the first time, his eyes filled with a terrifying and frenzied look. A low growl erupted from his mouth, and the Heavenly Emperor immediately raised the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword. The angry roars of a dragon and a phoenix rang out as he swung the sword toward Xiao Yan's position from afar. Boom! In the sky, the fiery giant and the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword clashed violently, sending shockwaves through the entire divine Thunder Pool Palace. Tremors shook the palace, and massive cracks, thousands of meters long, continued to form, causing fear and unease to grow within the hearts of all present. It was too powerful. The clash between the two divine artifacts carried enough destructive power to obliterate the heavens and earth. Unleash all remaining power. Defend? Suddenly, the Basha Dragon King's voice turned urgent, and he hastily shouted to the others behind him. At this level of attack, without adequate defense, anyone caught in it would surely face certain death. In the sky, the destruction and ferocity unleashed by the battle between Xiao Yin and the Heavenly Emperor had a terrifying aura. If one were to be consumed by it, their soul and mind would be shattered, leaving them as nothing more than a walking corpse. Good. The others responded, but they could only watch in awe at the evenly matched battle in the sky. The destructive energy of the battle was dazzling beyond imagination. The ancient silver sword light in the sky flickered with complex, ancient, and overpowering fluctuations, containing not only the power of thunder, but even the force of chaos. The fiery giant raised both hands, resisting the silver sword light, while within the giant's body, golden lightning seemed to be brewing something. Break for me! Instantly, the Heavenly Emperor's eyes turned crimson, and he shouted fiercely. Bang! 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 As the people below saw the first signs of cracks appearing on the fiery giant's body, they all gasped. Basha's Shell, Moon God's Wheel, Yaoqi Command, Floral God Petal. The divine, complex force emanating from the silver sword blade pierced through multiple obstructions, cutting through the void, and collided violently with the golden lightning that burst forth from the god-slaying ruler. As the attack made contact, the golden lightning and silver sword blade clashed repeatedly, with the energy ripples spilling out, shattering the entire divine Thunder Pool Palace into a broken abyss in an instant. In the dim abyss, Xun'er and the others stood at the bottom, releasing their last bit of strength to protect their bodies. Their gazes were fixed anxiously on the two figures in the sky, their hearts in their throats. Boom! After a brief moment of hesitation, the two attacks suddenly exploded simultaneously, like a black hole devouring everything, spreading out from the point of collision. How is this possible? A tie. Both Xiao Yin and the Heavenly Emperor's aura faltered significantly, especially Xiao Yin, whose hands, still gripping the god-slaying ruler, had already been eroded by the divine force, leaving behind only cold, white bones. Zzzzzzz. A faint spatial vortex emerged, and soon, a skeletal hand, clutching a heavy ruler, swung out. The Heavenly Emperor hadn't even reacted before feeling his internal energy uncontrollably surge out. His face instantly turned pale, and his eyes narrowed as he stared at his chest. At his chest, a huge, horrific wound had been pierced through by the god-slaying ruler. Blood and life force continued to drain away, even the organs beneath his chest withering rapidly like dying flowers. The god-slaying ruler had pierced through his chest, The power of the god-slaying ruler was overwhelmingly strong. One strike severely wounded the heavenly emperor. Moreover, the damage caused by such a supreme artifact, capable of slaying divine residences, was incurable unless the archangel of the heavenly kingdom intervened. Ah, no! The tragic, wailing screams echoed, and an earth-shattering burst of energy spread out from the heavenly emperor's body. That injury, deeply etched into his bones and soul, carried a sense of impending doom, continuously hammering at the heavenly emperor's mind and nerves. After using the Taiji heavenly emperor sword, there would be a brief moment of weakness, but how did Xiao know such a secret? Run! Get out of here now! The Baxia Dragon King, who had just regained some of his strength, looked up at the heavenly emperor above, whose internal energy was gradually dissipating, and suddenly roared. Heavenly Emperor, I won! Having completed the attack, Xiao Yan's entire body swayed, falling slowly as if a dying person, descending from the abyssal sky with the god-slaying ruler in hand. Clearly, the unexpected final strike had been guided by the spirit of the god-slaying ruler, but that blow had exhausted all of Xiao Yan's remaining strength. Since you're here, then stay forever. Divine art, Taiji breaking heaven's sword. A fierce killing intent surged in the heavenly emperor's eyes, and he roared like a demon. Using all his remaining strength, he raised the Taiji heavenly emperor sword again. The ancient and grand aura of the heavens and earth surged, holding his entire being's energy and breath in check. The entire world buzzed and trembled as he swung the sword toward Xiao Yan and the others. The power was indescribable, yet filled with irresistible, terrifying might. It was as if a divine official was pronouncing the fall and end of life. Boy, this is the heavenly emperor's rage-fueled strike, a half-god level combat technique. Run! In an instant, the usually calm spirit of the god-slaying ruler screamed frantically, as if it had seen something terrifying. An attack of this level would be extremely dangerous, even if a sacred king himself arrived. The heavenly emperor, in his final moments, was enraged, attempting to use the remainder of his life and all his strength to deliver a fatal blow. This was clearly an attempt to take Xiao Yan down with him. Cough. It may be too late. The god-slaying ruler is indeed powerful. Xiao Yan's body, like an empty shell, rapidly fell toward the Thunder Pool Plaza from midair. At this moment, the 10-colored sacred flame origin still surrounded Xiao Yan, but it was somewhat dim. The god-slaying ruler fell with him, but a sense of unprecedented weakness emanated from within. That final strike had been mighty, but it had drained all of Xiao Yan's power. His demonic energy was nearly exhausted, and the sacred flame energy was almost depleted. All of his internal power had sunk to the point of exhaustion. Xiao Yan could no longer summon any power. Then let me do it. With the spirit of my divine artifact, I call upon the 7 realms' divine artifacts. The flame god's cauldron appears. At this deadlock, the majestic voice of the spirit of the god-slaying ruler suddenly echoed in Xiao Yan's mind. Only at this moment did he realize why the sacred king had left a trace of breath in the world. Because once the first phase of the god-slaying ruler was repaired, he could follow that trace into it. Hoo. With a faint sound, a small flame cauldron appeared before Xiao Yan, despite his weakened state. Xiao Yan's eyelids were heavy, forcing himself to hold on to the last trace of will as he stared at the small flame cauldron in front of him. Wong. The spirit of the god-slaying ruler instantly shattered and transformed into beams of glowing light, enveloping the entire palm-sized flame cauldron. At that moment, some mysterious power slowly began to spill out from within the cauldron. Die! Fall together! The heavenly emperor's frenzied voice echoed, accompanied by a surge of his demigod-level combat technique. Struck by the god-slaying ruler, the incurable wound had driven the heavenly emperor into madness. Crack! Ancient bell sounds, like terrifying divine power shaking the heart, slowly emanated from the flame cauldron. In an instant, the small flame cauldron trembled violently, expanding to a size of 100 meters, casting a shadow that blotted out the sky and enveloped Xiao Yan, Baxia Dragon King and the others in an instant. No. Impossible. Why does a trash from the Xiao clan possess two ultimate divine artifacts? Seeing the flame cauldron in such a state, the Heavenly Emperor's pupils constricted tightly, and he blurted out in shock. Boom! A sword strike from the demigod-level combat technique shot out, the golden beam like a streak of chaotic divine power, cutting through the air and shaking the entire world. The golden beam blasted forth, forcibly splitting the entire divine palace in half. But that wasn't all. The golden beam, like a world-splitting divine force, suddenly cleaved through the vast territory of the immortal realm, splitting it into two halves. However, when the demigod-level golden beam touched the flame cauldron, a buzzing sound rang out, and the cauldron remained completely undamaged. This is a sacred flame artifact? Watching the deadly blow be neutralized by the flame cauldron, Xiao suddenly noticed that there were 35 flame runes surrounding the cauldron. The runes were obscure and mysterious, but 10 of them were identical to the 10 sacred runes Xiao had previously used. This was the ultimate divine artifact formed by the fusion of 35 sacred flames, listed on the sacred flame ranking. Its power was likely even greater than that of the god-slaying ruler. But why were there only 35 sacred runes? Shouldn't there be 36 in total? It seemed one was missing. At the center of the immortal realm's rift, within the vast magic abyss at the entrance to the celestial realm, most of the remaining demonic creatures here were below the White King level. While their strength was not great, their numbers were vast. If a true battle broke out, the remaining powerful beings of the immortal realm would not be able to resolve it anytime soon. Boom! What's happening? The celestial magic array, even the joint efforts of the extraterritorial forces to imprison and isolate the center of the immortal realm, was cut open by a single golden beam. The entire world seemed like a crystal, split from its center by some ancient and sacred force. Any being that touched or tried to resist the golden beam instantly perished. No cries or other sounds emerged, as their forms and souls were obliterated completely. My lord, this is bad. The heavenly pool of Jade Pool has arrived with the united immortal realm forces, and they're coming with overwhelming force. With our current strength, we won't be able to stop them. My lord, the hidden heaven evil array we set up was cut open by that golden beam. Countless powerful presences seem to have sensed our aura and are rapidly heading this way. Urgent voices echoed from within the magic abyss, stirring the vast army of the extraterritorial evil clan into a frenzy. Without leadership, and with their top combat strength already wiped out, the fall of this disorganized army was only a matter of time. Kill. Even if we die, the beings of the extraterritorial evil clan will never retreat. One day, we will conquer this great thousand world. Boom. The two massive armies clashed, but without the leadership of those at the Red King stage and the half-demonic gods, the extraterritorial evil army collapsed under the leadership of the heavenly pool of Jade Pool and others. The victory was inevitable. It was just a matter of time. Wong. Within the divine Thunder Pool Palace, Xiao and the others' faces were pale. The flame cauldron protected them, while in the distance, the heavenly emperor's body was slowly crumbling apart. Even his soul was beginning to fade into nothingness. The demigod-level combat technique, if not powered by the heavenly emperor's full life force and some mysterious energy, could not be unleashed alone unless one had the blessing of an angel. However, this powerful strike, paired with the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword, could not be resisted without the so-called Seven Realm Artifact and Flame Heaven Cauldron as protection. Without these, none of Xiao group would have survived. Exceeding the limits of top-tier immortal techniques, this combat technique that brushed against the power of gods should not be underestimated. No, I can't die. With a furious strike, the demigod-level attack failed to kill Xiao and the others. Instead, the attack from the god-slaying ruler caused the heavenly emperor irreversible, incurable damage. The Baxia Dragon King roared, its enormous green shell descending like a massive meteor from the sky, crashing down toward the heavenly emperor with a ferocious, overwhelming force. On the brink of death, the Heavenly Emperor resembled a stray dog, devoid of any fierceness, helplessly crushed by the ruthless, brutal assault of the Baxia Dragon King. Behind Xiao Yin and his group was a dimensional rift filled with an aura of endless danger. The Heavenly Emperor's previous slash had torn the entire immortal realm in half. The upper three heavens were no longer intact. Now, in the center of the immortal realm, aside from the heavenly pool of Jade Pool and the absent Xun'er King, all other powerful beings had perished. The immortal realm had shattered, and the once legendary human immortal wonderland now appeared strangely fragmented. No, I can't lose. Realizing that his strength was rapidly draining away, the Heavenly Emperor suddenly discarded the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword, clutching his head with both hands as a surge of fear filled his heart. A supreme existence like the Heavenly Emperor was supposed to possess endless life and fortune. Yet now, as death approached, he felt the same terror as an ordinary person. It seemed that, before death, all power and glory appeared insignificant. The instinct to survive prompted the Heavenly Emperor to display a terrifying fluctuation as he faced the Baxia Dragon King. You have done evil for too long. Perish. Using the immense power of his Baxia shell, the Baxia Dragon King launched one final devastating attack, sending a blast of force at the Heavenly Emperor's last ounce of strength. This unforgivable demon was as threatening as the evil god stage of the extraterritorial evil clan. He could not be allowed to escape. Crack! The Heavenly Emperor's body, along with all his power, began to shatter, breaking into countless specks of light that fell to the center of the immortal realm. The once glorious ruler of the celestial realm had fallen. It's over. After confirming that the Heavenly Emperor was completely destroyed, everyone still looked shaken, as if the fear had not fully subsided. Little guy, you're really something to be admired. After finishing everything, the Baxia Dragon King approached the group. Waves of green water emitted a gentle energy, constantly soothing and healing their battered bodies. Heh, once your injuries are a bit better, go get the Water Spirit Pearl. The Water Spirit Pearl will be kept by Xiao Yin. No problem? After the intense battle came to an end, Princess Qianqin clapped her hands, twisted her wrist, and casually crushed the stone box that held the Water Spirit Pearl. This? The other three women exchanged puzzled glances. Heh, the Water Spirit Pearl is a treasure of heaven and earth. Without the key, brute force alone won't open it. The seal was set by the previous Moon God Palace Master, the Floral God Palace Master, and the Heavenly Pool Mother. Even the Heavenly Emperor couldn't do anything about it. That's one reason why it disturbed his mind just now. Little E grinned. Xiao Yin, brother. Xiao Yin. In the distance, Xun'er and Yun each supported one of Xiao Yan's arms, their eyes filled with deep concern. I'm fine. Xiao Yin, feeling the warmth he hadn't experienced in a long time, slowly closed his eyes. Though he had nearly faced certain death in this perilous situation, he had managed to control the true demonic power and even obtained a sacred flame, ranked 36th. With 6 sacred flames and a variety of other techniques, Xiao Yan's growth speed now was simply jaw-dropping. Thankfully, this trip to the immortal realm had yielded great rewards. Buzz buzz. Xiao Yin, are you all okay? Moments later, the Heavenly Pool Mother led several leaders of immortal realm forces into the divine Thunder Pool Palace, rushing over to Xiao Yan's group with anxious concern. Teacher, I'm fine. We won. Xiao Yin, Lord Xiao, is the hero of the entire immortal realm. Seeing this, Yao Ling suddenly threw herself into the Heavenly Pool Mother's arms, crying uncontrollably. If it weren't for these companions protecting the immortal realm with their lives, the entire realm and they themselves would have perished. The Heavenly Pool Mother held Yao, looking up at the abyss that was spreading, and the storm of destruction that raged in the distance. A look of confusion surfaced. Even though the battle was over, the lingering, intense fluctuation still made her heart race. What kind of monstrous evil had they just faced? By the way, don't forget about the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword. Suddenly, Princess Qianqin spoke. Instantly, everyone's eyes turned toward the golden divine sword hovering silently in the void. The sword, still emanating fierce roars from two monstrous beasts, had now returned to being a weapon without a master following the Heavenly Emperor's fall. It seemed the sword was humming, awaiting its destined master. Let's take a look. The artifact is fine. The only problem is the person who wields it. Xiao Yin stood firm, recovering his strength with the help of the Baxia Dragon King. Immediately, Yao Ling, Yu Ru, Yun Yun, and Xun'er all walked toward the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword. Such a divine sword already had some level of intelligence and awareness. Otherwise, the pressure from a divine sword of this level would be tricky to handle even for a true six-fold reincarnation stage expert if it backfired. The crowd exchanged glances before standing still, especially the leaders of the Immortal Realm forces. They knew very well that if it weren't for the desperate efforts of these young ones, the Immortal Realm would be nothing but a memory. Thus, when it came to the distribution of the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword, they did not compete. Clearly, only the 4 women were eligible, while the others quietly stood to the side. So, this is the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword? The 4 women gathered around the sword, their gazes fixed on the second most powerful artifact of the Immortal Realm, and they couldn't help but speak in unison. I already have a divine artifact bracelet, so I'll step back. I also possess the Moon God sword. I have the Yaoqi command. Though divine artifacts are great, one cannot bite off more than they can chew. A moment later, the 3 women exchanged glances and smiled, seemingly pushing Yun Yun forward. But Yun Yun hesitated, biting her silver teeth in doubt. Yun Yun, give it a try, or... Xun'er whispered, her breath carrying a fragrance as it brushed against Yun Yun's ear. Not knowing what Xun'er had said, Yun Yun glanced briefly at Xiao Yin from afar, then fixed her gaze on the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword with newfound determination. With the power of her master and the inheritance of the floral god within her, combined with the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword, she could surely assist Xiao Yin. The Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword, what a precious item. Ladies, I am Yuan Qian, from the Human Realm Center. I've come to invite you all to speak with me. Just as Yun Yun's hand was about to touch the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword, the entire world trembled and distorted. A powerful spatial force surged forward. Whoosh! The Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword hummed as it was swiftly pulled away by the overwhelming spatial force, seeming to be pulled out of the 4 women's grasp. Center of the Human Realm? Xun'er's brows furrowed slightly at the mention. Previously, an envoy from the Human Realm Center had come to invite Xiao Yin to the Endless Fire domain, but there had been no further developments, even leading to some conflicts. Now, with another strong figure from the Human Realm Center appearing, it was clear they weren't here with peaceful intentions. Most importantly, this individual's strength was clearly not to be underestimated. 5th reincarnation stage? The higher-ups of the heavenly pool of Jade Pool looked at the man in gray robes, a faint sense of pressure filling the air. The 5th reincarnation stage wasn't enough to scare them, but what truly alarmed them was the Human Realm Center. The Human Realm Center was one of the strongest forces in the Great Thousand Worlds, and compared to them, the Immortal Realm was nothing more than child's play. This artifact should go to the one fated to possess it. Yuan Qian extended his hand, his palm glowing with dazzling spatial power as he easily confined the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword within his grasp. His actions made his intentions very clear. Retreat. Xun'er understood the severity of the situation, her face tightening. If the remaining strong figures from the Immortal Realm feared the Human Realm Center, there might well be a deadly battle ahead. After all, the name Human Realm Center seemed to represent the pinnacle of the Great Thousand Worlds, and aside from the Demon Realm, few forces dared to oppose it. These bastards! Xiao Yan's chest, which had momentarily calmed, surged with battle intent once more upon seeing the situation. The Human Realm Center was too powerful, so much so that few forces in the Great Thousand Worlds could dare challenge them. Furthermore, the Immortal Realm had just emerged from a devastating war, leaving it broken and greatly weakened. To recklessly confront the Human Realm Center would lead to certain destruction. Xiao Yin and his companions, with their temperaments, would not drag the Immortal Realm into such a situation. Is it a dead end? Or a new life? Xiao chuckled bitterly, feeling his previously restored power surge within him once again. Don't worry, little one. Baxia Dragon King grinned oddly, noticing a faint green demonic glow flickering in the abyss. The power it contained was, perhaps, not hard to guess. Yaoqi Saintus, second elder of the Alchemy Holy Hall. I am Yuan Qian from the Human Realm Center. I have been ordered by the Realm Lord to capture and eliminate the culprit who killed the strong men from the Human Realm Center, Xiao. You all should know how to handle this matter, right? Yuan Qian smiled faintly, turning to address the elderly figures beside him. This was to avoid involving the Immortal Realm, as the Immortal Realm's war had just ended. If he took advantage of their vulnerability, he would surely be criticized. Master! Saintus! Second Elder! At the sound of such provocative words, frantic shouts rang out from the surrounding crowd. Though their powers ranged from 7-star Docian to the 3rd reincarnation stage, they understood the bonds of affection. Xiao and his companions had put in great effort, defeating the extraterritorial army and the scheming Heavenly Emperor, saving the entire Immortal Realm. If they simply handed Xiao and his friends over now, how would the world view the Immortal Realm? The Immortal Realm, once a paradise people aspired to, would be slandered and despised by countless beings from the great thousand worlds. Yuan Qian, is it? Xiao is the savior of our Immortal Realm. He helped us eliminate the extraterritorial army and save the Immortal Realm from its greatest crisis. If you move against him, you will be making an enemy of the entire Immortal Realm. Even though our Immortal Realm's strength is greatly weakened, we will not abandon our savior. The Heavenly Pool of Jade Pool and the second elder of the Alchemy Holy Hall, along with others, stepped forward in unison. A vast murderous intent and fury erupted, causing the already turbulent abyss to grow even more restless. This is the order of the Realm Lord. I am merely carrying out orders, Yuan Qian said indifferently, his palms slowly opening. A command token, inscribed with luxurious golden characters, lay quietly upon his hand. Realm Lord's order? Xiao is actually the person specifically chosen by the Realm Lord to be taken. Many high-ranking figures from the Immortal Realm exchanged confused glances. From the token, they could feel an overwhelming aura of authority. No one truly knew the full extent of the Realm Lord's power. It was said that he alone could confront and erase an extraterritorial evil god stage being. For someone like the Heavenly Emperor, at the mere 6th reincarnation stage, he would likely be nothing more than a joke in the Realm Lord's presence. This is a matter of our human realm. If you Immortal Realm seniors continue to act with such arrogance, I will have no choice but to unleash the treasure given to me by my master, Yuan Qian declared, his eyes filled with an unshakable warning. His gaze then returned to Xiao, Xun'er, and the others. This time, their target was them. It was perfect. Having just ended their battle, the order from the Realm Lord had shaken the Immortal Realm. This mission would be a breeze. Thank you, seniors. At this moment, despite his injuries, Xiao slowly stepped forward in the abyss, a smile on his face, wild and filled with madness. Brother Xiao, second brother, Xiao, Xun'er, Little E, and Princess Qin stood firmly behind Xiao, the intensity of their madness growing stronger. Ha ha ha. For heavily wounded bodies, and yet you think you can fight me? Obey and follow me back to the human realm. Once the Realm Lord clears up these matters, you will naturally be allowed to return. Yuan Qian's lips twisted into a cruel smile as brilliant spatial power began to warp the abyss around him, seemingly attempting to bind and suppress Xiao and the others. Mother! Second Elder! Seeing this, countless powerful figures' eyes turned bloodshot, their nostrils tinged with grief as they shouted wildly. Ha! People of the Immortal Realm, heed my command. Kill him. Until death. Moments later, with the Heavenly Pool of Jade Pool and Yao Wuchen, the second elder, leading the charge, dozens of powerful figures rose in unison.